I think that would be dictated by the reception that the game gets. The Mortal Kombat 1, the first year we had, did really well. That inspired us to do a year two, so to speak, with Chaos Reigns, and that does similarly. I can't see us just dropping it, not doing anything else. So I think that's really going to be dictated by the players. Yeah, yeah, I do. That's there's always like this kind of balance that we're looking for in terms of trying to make the game as accessible to the casual audience, which is this big, and then the kind of the pro scene, which is this big, but very vocal, very important, very big part of our strategy is to just encompass both those groups. The it's very unscientific. Some people would guess that we're doing market research and doing all this stuff like that. It's if you imagine you're with your friends and you said, let's come up with three really cool characters to come up with, it would be the same conversation. It's not rocket science. It is a bunch of probably still somewhat juvenile game developers, thinking what would be cool. It's as simple as that. We said Ghostface would be kind of cool years ago, and you have to get permission from the owner of the IP. So sometimes they're doing something with someone else, or the character's appearing in another game or something like that, and then it prevents it. So we just kind of keep going back to them, and then at some point they said yes, and we jumped all over it. Many of them, actually, yeah. So there's if you almost think about we have like 10 pots on the stove that are in various stages of simmering to cold to boiling hot, and we're just it's a lot of things have to do to kind of align the planets to make them happen. We tend to focus on the PlayStation and Xbox versions, and then we get help from like the PC and the Switch and the extended versions. And there were certainly things that we're going to be doing differently going forward to get those in sync with the SKUs that we work on. Here and there, we had characters turn into animals. I think in like Mortal Kombat 4 or something, we turned the Scorpion into a scorpion. But to bring the whole feature back, I think it's been 29 years or something ridiculous that we haven't put it in. So it was just the last couple of games we brought back friendships and then babalities and whatnot. So we are like, okay, let's do them all. And then animalities was kind of like one of the last ones remaining. We literally work with some kind of like kind of professional players who are disabled, and they give us a ton of ideas. What if you did this? What if you did, using audio cues to identify where the other player is, or changing the kind of the color palette to be a little bit more easier to see from somebody whose vision's impaired and stuff like that. So it's really the inspiration comes from them. They say you should do something like this, and we usually just run with it. I think they approached us. I think at either a game developers conference or maybe we got like a representative call us or something, and they said, we'd love it if you do that. There was one player I remember who got really good at it. He was blind, completely blind, and I was asking him, how do you, and he goes, well, I hear the footsteps sounds, their place, and then I know when they're closer, and then I hear the character go, whoop, so I know they're jumping, and so I know where they are. So I think they have like an image in their head, and the audio is just kind of making cues to now this happened, and then they just piece it together and play the game. That's when they said that, we said, okay, there's something here that we can really uh, make really good use of. So, we get a lot of data that says what people do when they first start playing the game. A gigantic percentage of our players, the first thing they do is go right to the story. They just play. So there's very little we need to do. And again, some players, they just get right online and they just want to play competitively. The reasons the story mode exists, and is not only to tell a story, but to also give players who are intimidated to go online, and because they just get beat up 2 or 3 times and they're like, forget that, But in the story, it's at a slower pace. The opponents aren't crazy killer, Sonic Fox level of skill, and you can have it's way more accessible. It's many more people can play that game and have fun without getting online and just getting beat up. Oh, that's a tough one. You know, um, there's a couple. I think animalities is a big one. Just getting that feature back that some people, some players weren't even born when that came out. Some of our guys weren't even born, and the story is also great. It's also great to kind of continue the story as you go along. And there's secrets in the game that we haven't even announced that we're gonna like just see how long it takes people to find out. It's gonna be a big one. So.